these femme fatales need more recognition. And no, the obvious do not figure here. And also, get your mind out of there before I tell you to stop it. Hi folks, MasakoX here. Now, I was figuring out some discussion topics for the merry month of May, and Philly, that's my wife, suggested that I talk about the likes of female Dragon Ball characters. Not just the ones that we already know or are practically on every single bit of merchandise going, or made into ridiculously proportioned and unrealistic figures which do not make any sense logistically speaking. I'm looking at you, Dragon Gals. Her idea was more centered around some of the lesser known characters who deserve the chance to be recognised or showcased so that they may be appreciated more going forward. And not only that, but it would also help reduce the notion that Dragon Ball is only for men. It's not. It's for everyone. If you like Dragon Ball the show or anything else about it, then all the power to you. So for this list, I'm going to start with the more obvious ones to get them out of the way. But even they aren't exactly the first characters that pop into your head when you think Dragon Ball. So that means no Bulma, no Chi-Chi, no Android 18 for a start. Sorry folks. They are cool and all, but they are pretty prominent and couldn't really be considered underrated. In some circles, you might even say that they're overrated. By the time we finish, we'll have the ones where you are thinking, were they even in the show? And don't worry, I'm not going to count Arale in here for those of you who don't like her. He's also actually quite a curious litmus test for Dragon Ball Super. In episode 69, it's a good way to tell if somebody is a Toriyama/early DB fan based on how they react to seeing Arale when she shows up in it. Try it yourself. But anyway, let's go. Number 10, Launch. I mean, come on. I think it goes without saying that this character deserves more love and recognition, and that's why she's on the list. Granted, quite a few fans know about her just through the memes, she is the most obvious candidate for this list, but it would be wrong of me to not include her given that she played such a huge role in the first series in Dragon Ball and then just vanished for no reason. Well, at least no reason in the lore. She has had a better treatment thanks to the fandom, and now she does appear in the Kakarot game, which at least solidifies her reason for not being around, her desire to look for Ten Shinhan, bringing that into the public eye more, instead of it just being relegated to Toriyama interviews on Kanzenshu, which not every Dragon Ball fan's going to know about. So hey, she is around. We just need her now to be included more in the anime or manga. And why is she underrated specifically? Well, simply put, she's incredibly tough and was able to keep in check the Dragon Team for the longest time, even though she's much weaker than them, with her interesting personality shifts and a loud personality itself. She was a good example of how you didn't need to have a high battle power to be a badass in the show. Number 9, Yurine. Okay, now I bet a lot of you are going to be probably rolling your eyes at this one, but hear me out. Narratively speaking, I think Yurine is pretty interesting. Her inclusion is an intriguing one, albeit a little bit out of left field. And Yurine, please get over the allusion to maturation people, was a childhood friend of Ten Shinhan who left her hanging for the longest time and has now only come back into his life to try and impress him. Her underrated status comes from the fact that she is actually pretty potent and skilled with magical charms and martial arts for a non-Dragon Team member, and it can also provide Ten Shinhan some much needed character development. She is critical for making him relevant, if the showrunners want to do that sort of thing. And we've had discussions about this in the past. I mean, please, we all want to see the Triclops get some love himself. We've done it with R&R. So this is actually almost a twofer in terms of being a compelling bit of storytelling. However, she's a little low on this list for the fact that she's relatively new to the series and hasn't had too much time to bed herself into the fandom, if she will at all. Number 8, Cocotte. Ah yes, Cocotte. The strongest female representative in the Pride Troopers, which in of itself is no mean feat. If you can be in the same top-ranked team as the likes of Toppo and Yurine, it's gotta count for something, right? Her place at number 8 is also down to her relatively recent inclusion and place in a very prominent team. But she is here also because of the fact that she could go toe-to-toe with Android 18, and that's a pretty big claim. And also being quite calm under pressure from the likes of Berserk Kale, that's impressive too. as well as having some cool abilities. And yes, I know that you're going to say that 18 did easily toss her out in the end of the ring, but I'm going to chalk that up to inexperience and over-reliance on one signature technique, the Cocotte Zone. When you stop to think about that technique, what also makes her underrated is the fact that that power is actually just a less comprehensive version of Hit's ability to dimension jump, stop time, go into time and space and stuff. Because that zone of hers, you're locked away in a separate dimension. You cannot be heard. She can manipulate space people, that's pretty big. It's pretty cool and something not to sniff at. She just needs to extend her repertoire a little bit is all. Don't just rely on one technique. Because remember, you may be similar, but you're not like Hit. Number 7. Fortuneteller Baba, the sister of Master Roshi. Baba is one of those constants in Dragon Ball that has recently been pushed into the background somewhat through the lack of narrative or things to do with her. The only saving grace for her at the moment is when Frieza came to visit the Earth with a Tournament of Power, relying on her skills. And yeah, it did then lead to the most heartwarming nod to Dragon Ball going. You know, that bit at her place when Goku was reenacting his battle with Grandpa Gohan solo. That was so touching. But let's get back to Baba. Her magical abilities are incredible, and she was one of the first connections to the other world going, long before we saw Kami, like 60 episodes before we saw Kami. She and Korin were the initial steps towards us understanding how that world above Earth works, and we now, thanks to that initial foray, have a fully comprehensive knowledge of said world, and it all started with a cat and an old crone. Also, she is pretty powerful. She can grant access for the dead to come back to life for a day, being the gateway to the afterlife, which saved Earth when you think about it. Without her being able to do this, Goku couldn't come back in the Buu Saga to help, nor could Frieza join the roster so easily to help Universe 7 win. Well, there you go. And besides, getting to see her bicker with Roshi is always funny. Number 6. Dokuri. She is the darkness. No, seriously, she is all about the darkness. But jokes to Batman aside, Dokuri's power is very interesting, and noted by the likes of Master Roshi, who treats his battle with her with the greatest seriousness. No flirtatious actions here. Had it not been for the Mafaba actually, she might have probably been able to win against Roshi, and eliminate more people by luring them into the darker parts of the arena where she is invincible. Goes to show that you don't need to have immense combat power to win the day outright, you gotta use your smarts, and that was what the Tournament of Power roster was really good at. Her battle power is not high at all, relying more on illusions and whatnot, but her confident nature against beings who are in theory insurmountably stronger than her is something to really understand and take note of. It's just a shame that more of her personality wasn't included here in the brief time that we saw her. But to be fair, she was there to make up the numbers for Universe 4, she wasn't the only one. But I feel that she does deserve to be mentioned here, given that if you turn the lights off with her around, you're done for. Take that as you will. Number 5. Future Mai. I've said it many times on this channel and I will say it again. Future Mai is legendary. Of course, the Mai from Dragon Ball is sort of here by proxy as well, including in the assisting since this is technically the same person, but I'm going off of just the actions from the Dragon Ball Super arc with her in it. Forget for a moment the fact that she is a 50-plus-year-old woman in a 20-something body due to Dragon Ball wishes and whatnot. That point is irrelevant here. What is relevant here is the fact that Mai in the future is able to do so much good for the remaining populace of Earth, going up against the likes of Goku Black and future Zamasu. Gods. She is a human with no battle power to speak of, with only her team of resistance warriors backing her up, doing their best to keep mortal beings alive again against gods. That takes some courage, and I would argue that she is the bravest character in the series, especially when you take that literal shot of her sniping Goku Black with only a standard rifle. She went in there and gave it a go. Had that aim been true, and maybe destroyed the Patara on Black's ear, that could have ended the Zero Mortal plan right there. You don't need high battle powers to do that. That's pretty huge. So Mai, I salute you and your tenacity. Number 4, Colonel Violet. If you are a woman and had managed to make it far in the Red Ribbon Army, good on you. To me, the army seems like a very self-centered endeavor of Commander Red, and Colonel Violet seems to be the best in that organization for that. But why is she higher than future Mai Masako? Well, future Mai, you sort of know who she is, but I can imagine a lot of you would think, well, Colonel Violet? Oh yeah, that. Takes a little bit more time to understand who she was. She herself, though, is very ambitious and rather powerful in her own right, at least for the time of the original Dragon Ball. In the manga, she actually only appeared in only 2 panels, but in the anime, she did way more. She used her guile and skills to be able to give the Dragon Team of the day quite a lot of problems, and in the long run, that proved key to her survival. If a character can rely on things other than brute strength to get around, that needs to be acknowledged, as that is quite impressive in a universe where strength is paramount. So, well done, Violet. But also, just because she's in the Red Ribbon Army, that doesn't make her a nasty person. What makes her more compelling is that, yeah, she works for the army, but she isn't their biggest fan, not really believing in what they do, treating them with contempt most of the time, which shows her belief in herself. That, and she protects animals. I bet, like 16, she loves nature. I mean, that's got to be mentioned too. I mean, come on, she saved a baby monkey. No ordinary Red Ribbon Army person would have done that. Number 3, lags. Wait, Masako, what are you doing? You're acknowledging Super Dragon Ball heroes? Why? She could have killed Goku. Yeah, Lax proved to be a very effective warrior and left a definite impression on me for the short time I was watching Super Dragon Ball Heroes before I realized, this is boring. Yeah, granted, Goku was kinda tired and very fatigued in the situation, but that doesn't matter in a battle. If the other fighter can get the jump on you and ultimately inflict a lot of damage on you, that's gotta be noted, and her attacks were going to do the job alongside her boss, Hearts. She just kept going and going, proving to be utterly ruthless. Had her boss not had an ego trip, she could have ended Goku after forcing him out of Ultra Instinct Sign. But no! She then got told to go to Universe 3! And thusly she fell out of prominence and then just became yet another minion forgotten about and then pummeled by Metacooler. But yeah, but if you want to see her do more cool stuff, look to the manga of Heroes if you can. In that, she does way more. Her death also by Majin Uzoto is something kinda badass. And she has an ultimate technique of a giant glass dragon. Dude, can you imagine this glass dragon going against the Dragon Fist dragon? That would be epic. That's what Super Dragon Ball Heroes should be doing. More epic, cool, stupid, random stuff. Number 2, Annin. Now, despite her status as a filler character, being anime only, Annin had a pretty big role in keeping the stability of the other world in check from the regular world side. She is the Lord of the Furnace of 8 Divisions, which is basically another and much tamer way of saying that she is the Empress of the Gates of Hell. How cool does that sound? Empress of the Gates of Hell! Her power is quite troublesome also for Goku at the time, and whether it can increase or not over time, she is immortal also, so she could improve, is up for debate, since she is never seen or heard from again after the episode with her in it after Chi-Chi and Goku got married, towards the end of the original Dragon Ball. This prominent position is not something to be sniffed at, as without a guardian as competent and serious to the job as Annin, Earth could be in a lot of trouble. We saw what happened in movie 12 when Hell got released. It's just a shame that Dragon Ball Super's better attempts at nodding to its past haven't got around to her yet. Perhaps one day, we could have a moment where the furnaces may be having some problems, and King Yemma is actioning the people of Earth, including the Dragon Team, to investigate, with Annin providing assistance, but oh well, one can dream. Before we get to number 1, here's an honourable mention. Lilybo. I mean, come on. This one from Universe 10 gets a mention for the fact that she is so underrated that we didn't even get a chance to see what she could do since she got thrown out of the tournament ring just seconds after it began. Such a loss for the show. I mean, any character who falls seconds after a fight begins is underrated in of itself. But jokes aside, let's see who tops my list. Number 1, Husky. Husky? Who that? This be Husky. Isn't that just a blonde launch clone only with cool Gatchaman Fist of the North Star gear going on? And yes, I know she's also another anime-only character, but to me, she was pretty cool. Assured, confident, and potentially a rival to Blonde Launch, Husky is a genius master thief who had an attachment from the Red Ribbon Army to surreptitiously get the Dragon Balls from Goku and the gang. Before the Red Ribbon Army became fully prominent, their full status becoming apparent in the anime. I feel like she was very underused, and that Toriyama could have adopted her for the manga and have some maybe antics with Launch from time to time, being rival thieves and whatnot. Maybe they could actually become best friends or something. She could then be used later in the anime when she might have retired or turned over a new leaf or something, but no. She got... well, actually, nobody really knows, since her destiny was never really told. Did she get turned into the authorities? Did she escape after the bomb was defused? Nobody knows. Also, the dub gave her a British accent, so that automatically makes her more devious, interesting, and cunning in the world of media for some bizarre reason. But hey, you know, Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black might have a girlfriend, you know, because they're both British. I think with that character, you could have easily had more fun with such a smart and crafty one like Husky. Also, her sheer charisma that she just exudes would really work well nowadays. In like movies like Birds of Prey, she'd be so cool, probably empowering, I say. But what do you folks think? Do you agree with this list? Which other female identifying characters would you say could make this list, or maybe your own list? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later.